Well, hello and welcome back. It's been a while actually, but this is a good point to I think return. So we've got the release or the set list of Dawn of Majesty, and we finally get to see the TCG exclusive Beetroopers, the new insect archetype. And I'm very excited. Yeah, We heard about these a couple months ago, and I'm not disappointed because they are actually fine. They're actually a good, like an okay insect deck, which is nice. I'm yet to work out exactly where they fit with Ballpark, but certainly they have a lot of interesting extenders and things we can do with them. So I'm gonna get into a little bit of a card by card, and then we can do sort of like maybe a combo, and then and see what we go from there. So we'll start off with the main deck monsters, which is the first one is Beetrooper Sting Lancer, which is a level 7 wind with 2/4 attack and 1/8 defense. Its effect is to target quick effect in the main phase. Target one insect in your graveyard and one monster in your opponent's graveyard. Special summon this card from hand, and if you do, place both targeted monsters on the bottom of each the respective decks. If it's normal or special, you get to add a Beetrooper spell or trap from your deck. So I think this is a really great extender, mostly for going second, although... Oh my god, a dog. Anyway, as I was saying, this is a really nice little extender for if you're going second, or as a hand trap if you've gone first, because if you've obviously comboed and have some insects in grave, as soon as your opponent activates an effect that ditches the grave and maybe has a grave effect, you can eat it with this and shuffle it back into the deck, which is actually really nice. Obviously, then you get to search the spell or trap from the Beetrooper archetype, but yeah, it's really cool actually. I quite like it. And then onto the next, we've got Beetrooper Scale Bomber, which is a level 3 fire. 1/2 attack and 2000 defense. I'm out of breath. I just had to chase my dog down the stairs. Anyway, it's a level 3 fire, 1/2 attack, 2000 defense. If an insect monster is normal or special summoned to your field, you can special summon this card from your hand. When your opponent activates an effect, quick effect, tribute one insect monster, destroy it. Now, this is obviously just a good another extender because it's on normal or special from hand, which is really that's great. The effect of pop is I immediately thought it was like Trident, but it's not quite because it's you have to chain it to the effect of a monster. So, for example, if Chainlink 1 something on field, Chainlink 2 in grave, you won't be able to pop anything because it has to follow immediately after the activated effect monster. So that's kind of a shame, but it's still a nice little thing, and it's obviously interruption if your opponent's not quite ready or hasn't really got any other option. So it's not the worst thing in the world, but certainly the extending capabilities of it are very nice. Beetrooper Scout Buggy. So this was the sneak peek thing, or was the promo card. Is a level 3 wind, 1000 attack and 300 defense. You cannot special summon monsters except insects, so this is the restriction we'll get to in a second. If you normal or special summon, if this card is normal or special summoned, you can special summon one Beetrooper Scout Buggy from your hand, deck, or graveyard. So that's really good. The fact it's from anywhere, it's sort of it beats out the I think Galaxy Worm and Block Spider, because they would just special summon another copy of themselves from the deck, I think exclusively. So that's nice. It has got that versatility, and it means you could probably run it at 2 if you really wanted to cut one, just because it can summon from anywhere as opposed to just from the deck. Obviously, but if you want to get a quick link out or a rank 3 if you'd like, you can do with this. So yeah, so this card and the 2 link monsters both have the restriction of you cannot special summon monsters except insects. And the important thing to remember here is that it's only when it's on the field. As soon as it leaves the field, you are good to summon anything else you like. So I think there are good ways to play around with this and actually get summons of cards, not insect cards, on the field. It's a couple of things I put in my mock deck, which I thought we can sort of play around with that, and we can bypass the can't summon things sex. Well, these monsters are off the field. But yeah, there's certainly stuff to get around that, and thanks to a couple generic link insects, we can easily circumvent it. So now on to the one spell that we have, which is the field spell, Beetrooper Formation. You can target one Beetrooper monster in your graveyard, special summon it, but it cannot attack this turn. Also, you lose life points equal to the original attack of its monster. If a face-up insect monster you control is destroyed by battle or card effect, special summon one Beetrooper token with 1,000 defense, 1,000 attack, level 3 Earth. First insect from this was not amazing, but it's actually not too bad. Actually, thinking about it again, because like, yeah, you take a hit of the life points. If you look at the monsters, you either take a K, 1, 2, 2, 4, 1,000 or 3,000, which is, well, depending on what it is. If it's 3,000, it's gonna be a heavy hit. But you have to remember always, life points are a resource. They're not a I don't know. They're something that you can use to spend essentially. So I think it's not the worst thing in the world. The summoning a token, I don't know how much you can use. Honestly, you could maybe pop things with your own Gokupole and then get a token, but I'm not sure what the purpose of that would be. For if I'm honest, it's okay. But certainly the combos that I've been doing, you end up on the first time summoning this card, you search out the trap, and the second time it summons, you can search up this, I think, for the next turn recursion. I'll show that in the combo, and I think that's probably the best way to play it. But yeah, it's interesting. I'll probably only play it at 1, and then if you're playing it with the ballpark, you can obviously use this as a set rotation target, so that's a good shout, I suppose. So onto the trap. She's called Beetrooper Fly Instinct, which is a counter trap, which is nice to see. Its effect is when your opponent activates a monster effect while you control a Beetrooper monster, which is nice, and obviously it doesn't have to be Link. Negate the activation, and if you do, destroy it. During your end phase, if this card is in your graveyard and you control an insect with 3,000 or more attack, you can banish one insect monster from your graveyard, set this card. So, and you can only use one of these effects per turn, which is okay. So this is quite cool, actually. Good to have a counter trap. It's annoying it's just monster effects. It'd be nice if it was spell and trap as well, but hey ho. The resetting is great. So obviously, Raw, Silent Gate Raw was a big card and stuff like that, but just to make an example, let's say it's face down in your turn 1, activating in turn 2 to negate monster effect. If you survive that turn, you can then set it at the end of your turn 3, which is great because you can then obviously have it ready for turn 4. And also you banish a card, so potentially if you had Resonance Insect engraved, you can banish Resonance Insect, get the Gokupole effect, and then add something to your hand, which is really cool. But yeah, really nice card actually. Glad to have an actual sort of counter trap to be playing combos and sort of interrupting plays as opposed to just sort of kaijus. But yeah, let's get into the Link monsters. So first things first, we got the Link 2 Beetrooper Armorhorn. It is down and up arrow and 1,000 attack. It requires 2 insect monsters to summon. You cannot special summon monsters except insects. You can only use each of these effects of Beetrooper Armorhorn once per turn. During your main phase, you can immediately after this effect resolves normal summon 1 insect monster. Very nice. If this card is in your graveyard, you can banish 3 other insect monsters from your graveyard. Special summon this card, but banish it when it leaves the field. Ooh, that's interesting. So it's kind of, the extra normal summon is really nice. That's just the best thing about this card, honestly. So that's, and it allows you to recur like Resonance Insect and really get like further in your combos and stuff like that. And yeah, this is and the getting it back is very useful for then when you get into the big boy. However, 3 is a lot, and often I'm finding with Picophilinia, you obviously want to target 3, shuffle them back. If you do that, and you very often don't have enough resources then to activate the Armorhorn as well, but it is what it is. But it's nice to get it back onto the field to use it for some other things, because, well, let's get into Link 4 and see what you can use it for. So, Giant Beetrooper Invincible Atlas is a Link 4, 3,000 attack. It is up arrow, bottom right, down, and bottom left, and takes 2+ insect monsters, which is really nice to summon. While this Link summon card has 3,000 or less attack, your opponent cannot target this card with card effects. Also, it cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects. You cannot special monsters except insect monsters. You can tribute 1 insect monster, then activate one of these effects. Special summon 1 Beetrooper monster from your deck, this card gains 2,000 attack to the end of this turn. So that's really cool. That's what it's basically for. So the idea is you link into the Link 2, you then extra normal summon something else, link it into this, and then you summon back the horn, and then use this effect to tribute the link to summon one of these guys. So then with one of these guys, you can either get 2 of these out, make it rank 3. So like for example, Cicada King, Giga Brilliant if you bloody wanted to, why not? Beetrooper Scale Bomber, or the Sting Lancer, which is then you can then search the counter trap. But I'll show you all this in a second. But yeah, very good. Really was going to help with OTKing, I imagine, if you can sort of hit for a lot of damage. 5k, it's quite a lot. And obviously, especially summoning extra things to help you with combos. The issue is obviously then if you gain 2k, you don't get to reset this. But it is what it is. I think it's probably worth it if that's just the turn that you're definitely gonna finish your opponent off. But yeah, so that's all the cards we have. I'll quickly search up the other link 2 that we got this set. So this is Insect Shinobi Hagakure. Oh bloody hell! Insect Shinobi Hagakuremino. Hagakuremino. Let's go with that one. It's 2 monsters with different names. And it's an up left arrow and a down arrow, and it has 1,000 attack. While this card points to a monster, your opponent monsters cannot target this card for attacks. If a monster this card points to is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can special summon level 4 or lower insect from your hand or graveyard, but banish it when it leaves the field. So I've seen a lot of people quite excited for this card. I don't know whether I've not seen something that they have or what. What immediately strikes me is 2 monsters with different card names. So, for example, if I summon this and then use its effect, I can't then summon this, which is fine. I guess you can use this. The idea, I suppose, is that you have this on the field pointing down into a monster that you want to be destroyed. Your opponent then can't just target this for effect until you've destroyed that monster. So they attack into that monster, kill it. You obviously get the effect, whatever. Then you get this card's effect again to summon. If it's a level 4, summon it back to the point, to that zone, and you obviously then have to attack it again. So if it was Resonance, I guess you get to resolve it twice, which is kind of cool. But obviously it's quite slow. You have to wait a turn, and then summon another monster to get to that zone, and then wait for your opponent just to attack into it twice. Which is, again, if they're doing that, they might have potential just to completely OTK you or remove this from the field in the first place. But anyway, I think it's definitely could be useful, and I'll certainly test it with like as I said, the likes of Resonance Insect, just to get 2 effects of Resonance in one turn, which is kind of cool. But yeah, either way, it's still good to have another insect in the binder and to play with, especially if it's gonna be generic like this, with all these restrictions that we've now got. But yeah, cool. Let me get into a mock deck that I've got. So this is my first impressions of what I think the deck can do. If you want to play as a more pure variant, and particularly just more of a insect Beetrooper deck as opposed to specifically Ballpark. Quickly, I'll just mention I put Ballpark in essentially as the side. So the thinking behind that is that you've got this sort of combo, interruption, stun deck, or whatever. Probably not stun. It's just a combo deck. And then if you win game 1, you can then immediately smoke screen into Ballpark, and then hopefully OTK your opponent just by them going, he wants to go first, and probably hasn't got anything to do anything off the second, going second. So the makers go second, and then we can go haha kaijus. But yeah, I'll have to practice and see whether that's really the best viable option to do this with the deck. As I said, not entirely sure. But let me get into quickly what I've put in this deck, just as a rough one. So we're going 3 Scout Buggy. As I said, if you have 3 in your hand, 3 in deck, you can basically, if you open it, you just get a normal summon easy and get 2 monsters used onto the field to then start link climbing. Extender, the Scale Bomber. As I said, very nice little extender. And then if you need it, leave it on the field as a potential pop interruption for your opponent. 2 Sting Lancer. So 1, you summon. I like to summon off the Big Atlas in my first turn, and then the other one I like to add to your hand to then be able to use as a hand trap in my opponent's turn. Then we'll have 1 of the Beetrooper Flying Sting, so that's the counter trap, and as it says, that's the one you want to search first with the Sting Lancer, and then with the second one you summon, you want to add this, which is then for recurring your Link monsters and your Beetroopers in the third turn. So then getting into some more generic insects. Doomdozer. I'm running 2, and that's because I want to. What this deck struggles with is spells. It has really great monster interaction, but spells doesn't really have much of that. So that's why we're running 2 to try and make Hope Harbinger, the Dragon Titanic Galaxy, so number 38, just as some interruption towards spells and traps. No, just spells. And yeah, obviously it's an extender for yourself because you can banish your Resonance Insect and summon it and all that stuff. 3 Mothman, it's just an extender. 1 Mamelio. So obviously with this second normal summon, I look towards some insects that will be useful as a very powerful normal summon. So on normal summon of Traptrix Mamelio, you get to add a trap hole. So I've 1 Gravedigger's trap hole. I yet to see whether that's a really cool, really smart thing to do, but it's an option, and I'm going to try it out and see how it goes. And then the Golden Boy, Resonance Insect at 3. Honestly, still the best card in in insect decks. If you run it, it's just insane, and you can easily resolve this card 3-4 times in your turn. It's mental. And then we've got 1 Squatter and 2 Gokeball. Just obviously if you want to pop something, or if you want to just get an easy special summon on the ditch of this, it's just nice. And then 1 Aztekapede, just as another option for adding off Gokepole, as I said. But yeah, and then hand traps, got 3 Ash and 3 Parallel Exceed for just extenders. I'll show a combo which just involves Parallel Exceed and a Resonance Insect, which is currently the nicest sort of looking thing I've had so far. But yeah, and then some one-offs: Foolish Burial, Monster Reborn, Cool Buy, and a Gold Sark. Just 2 ways to get Gokepole to grave and get a Resonance into the hand, or whatever. And then Monster Reborn just because it's good, and Cool Buy the grave just because this deck does struggle a bit with hand traps. Then, as I said, struggle a bit with spells. So 3 Cosmic, and then to finish off the hand traps, we've got 3 Infinite Penance. As I said, this is kind of nice just because it's a trap as well, and you're going first. Then into the extra deck. So of the new cards, we've got 2 BEETROOPER Atlas, 2 Armahorn, and we got 1 Hagar. It's the new stuff. And then for the generic stuff, we've got Almirage, which is great for triggering Gokepole and Resonance Insect. Linked Spider in case you've got the Squatter out. 2 Pikafelina, 1 Phoenix, 1 Papillon, which is the most crap, most dog shit insect card there is. But because it's generic, it's actually usable now, and it actually, I do recommend using maybe 1 or 2 of these in this deck, just to get rid of that restriction of you can only special summon insect monsters. But anyhow, an Apollousa, I'm not really sure whether it's fit for this deck. I just sort of thought, if I'm running Papillon, may as well run Apollousa. I mean, to be honest, it'd probably be better than Access Code if I'm honest. Yeah. 1 Traptrix Alameris, really fantastic extender. Gets you to recur Resonance Insect as much as you like. Dweller, just because it's generic. And Hope Harbinger, because I said it's a good spell negator. But yeah, let me quickly get you into 1 combo I've thought of so far, which involves Resonance Insect and a Parallel Exceed. So, this is our opening hand, which is a Cosmic, Parallel, Resonance, Aztekapede, and a Squatter. And I'll show you a combo which just involves these 2, which will hopefully end on about 3 interruptions. So we'll normal on Resonance Insect, link into an Almirage, and then use the effect of Resonance, Chain Link 1, and Parallel, Chain Link 2. Resonance will first off add as a Doomdozer, and then the Parallel effect will trigger to summon a copy of itself. We then overlay these 2 parallels into an Alameris. Alameris effect to res the res. Little pun for you. We'll then link those 2 into the Armahorn, the new link 2, and then Resonance Insect will trigger again. So let's count them. That's the second Resonance Insect effect. And so this is where it sort of divides. You can either add a Beetrooper Sting Lancer, and you can use that for the next turn as interruption on your opponent's turn, as I said, as like a pseudo Diddy Crow effect. Alternately, you can obviously add the Doomdozer, and then you can start making plays in terms of the what did I call it? The Titanic Clad. Sorry, not Titanic Clad. Number 38. but it depends what you want to do. So we'll do this one. We'll do the Traptrix version out. So I'll add Sting Lancer. And then we'll summon the Doomdozer by banishing those 2 insects in Grave, Resonance and Alamaris, and then use the effect of Resonance Insect to send a Gokipole. And so this is the second sword. So if you decided to go with the Traptrix effect, you can then off the Gokipole you then add the Marmelio. If you wanted to go the way of making a number 38, you'll go the way you add Resonance Insect, because obviously with this new link 2, you just normal whatever you had to hand. So I'm going to add the Marmelio, and then use the effect of Armorhorn to normal summon an extra monster. Let's normal summon the Marmelio, and then we'll use the effect of Marmelio to add us the Gravedigger's Trap Hole. We will then link the Armorhorn and the Almirage into a generic link 3. So that means we've got rid of the non-insect monster, and we can then free to link these two into the link the Papillon and the Marmelio into the new level, the link 4. We then want to obviously get the other counter trap, so we'll activate the Giant Atlas to tribute the Doomdozer to special summon the second Lancer. Attack and defense, I guess attack's better, but whatever. And then we'll use a Lancer effect on summon to add us the counter trap. So that's a very simple combo to end on the link 4 3000 attack untargetable, indestructible monster. We still have the link 2 Engrave to extend further if we wanted to do other things like that. And then in terms of interruption, we have Gravedigger's Trap Hole, which is a negate for monster effects in hand or grave. We've got Beetrooper Flying Sting, which is a generic monster negate. And then we've got the Beetrooper Sting Lancer, which is a pseudo Decro. I'll quickly show you the second version, which is you end on number 38. But I'm quite happy with that, considering what the deck is, and considering we still have other extenders and stuff to do in hand and in grave. I'm pretty happy with it. But yeah, very cool. So yeah, this is going to be the version where you don't normal the Marmelio, and that might be the reason you draw it in hand or you draw on the Gravedigger's Trap Hole, which is fine. So we'll just normal Resonance Insect, and we'll basically just do the same thing again, linking to the Almirage, and then the effect of Resonance, chain link the Parallel Exceed, and then we'll add off the Resonance Insect the first Doomdozer. So that's effect 1 of Resonance Insect, and then we'll do the Parallel effect to summon a copy of itself. And then we'll overlay Almirage, and then attach 2 to summon the res back, res the res, and this will be effect 2 of Resonance effect. So link those 2 into the horn, and there we go, second effect, adding the second Doomdozer. So now we'll do special the Doomdozer by banishing Resonance and Almirage, and then Resonance effect for ditching to grave Gokipole, and then off this, instead of adding the Marmelio, we will add another Resonance Insect. So then we'll use the effect of the horn, summoning another Resonance Insect. And now we shall summon, we'll link the Almirage and the Almorhorn into the Papillon to get rid of the restriction. This is counter effect or whatever it does. And then we'll summon the other Doomdozer. Now that we haven't got restrictions on the field, we can overlay those into the Hope Harbinger. Link Papillon and Almirage into Lancer. And then we have Gravedigger's Trap Hole in hand and the Lancer. Now, unfortunately, because of how many insects we had in the graveyard, we had to banish our Armorhorn to summon out the second Doomdozer. Depending on what extenders you have and what you actually can do, you can very much end on Hope Harbinger and the Invincible Atlas, and then also a another insect which you can tribute to add the counter trap. Unfortunately, just didn't play out this turn. But yeah, there's definitely ways of doing it. I'm trying to make that more consistent, just because, as I said, this deck really struggles to spell negates. So you need to get something like the Hope Harbinger onto the field. But I mean, that's just my preference, and that's just my sort of thinking of lines of play. But it is what it is. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. If you've got any suggestions or any comments, I would love to hear them. And I shall test anything out that you suggest. But yeah, thanks so much, and I'll see you later, nerds.